Welcome back, everybody. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Aaron.
This is our show, CryptoCosm, where I talk about the astrological forecasts.
And I bring you your daily crypto news.
Now, it wasn't that long ago that Aaron showed me this image. Now, how many of you have seen this magazine cover of The Economist from back in January of 1988 and wondered what in the world is going on?
30 years ago, 30 years in the making.
30 years ago, Nostradamus was clearly alive making magazine covers for The Economist, because what in the world is this?
There's so much going on with this picture, and there's a lot we really want to kind of put under the microscope for a quick second and just kind of theorize and take a deep look at it. What's really going on here?
So there's a lot of things that are obvious to us, and there are certain things that we just simply can't see, that we have to accept in our reality that we live with every single day.
That's right.
Now, when we started this show, we've talked about it, every few of these episodes, about the moon cycle. If you ask anybody, any police officer, any fireman, any nurse or doctor, full moons are always crazy, okay? People act crazy, people act crazy, okay? There's more babies born in the hospitals, there's just more...
people act crazier during
right?
the moon cycle.
Because we're all crazy to our own degree, right? But this is an obvious thing that we can just see. Now, we also see that the tides, we have more waves. The moon controls the waves and the wind, okay? These are obvious things when we look at the astrology. Some things are not always as obvious. Now, to me, this picture is just pops out left and right of all of these images that are completely astrologically related. Okay, first we're dealing with a phoenix rising from the ashes. Okay, whenever we see a phoenix rising from the ashes, it is immediately associated with Scorpio, and it's planet Pluto that we associate Scorpio and Pluto together.
So transformation.
Transformation, exactly. Transformation. And Scorpio actually has like three kind of archetypes, if you will. One is the scorpion itself. One is the eagle. Once it transcends from being a scorpion, it becomes an eagle. All right, and it has this laser-eyed vision and a hawk, eagle vision, even better than hawk, that can swoop down and gather its prey, and swoop away. And then the third kind of archetype is the dove, when it transcends yet again to being this kind of peaceful creature, no longer carnivorous, eats twigs and berries and all that kind of stuff. And is looked at as like a holy thing, okay? Now, coming from a Scorpio into this holy thing is a transformation, because people do not associate Scorpios and doves as being the same thing, okay? We do as astrologers, all right? It's transformation. Pluto, Hades, the god of the underworld, okay? So when I see this image and I see January 1988, the first thing I say is, okay, well, we're talking about, and it says right there clearly on the coin, 2018. So let's look at the astrology from back in January 1988 real quick. And
what's going on there?
Absolutely. So let's just take a quick trip around here. So first off, we have the North Node in Pisces. Right now, our North Node is in Leo. The North Node kind of points you to where you're going. Pisces is our dreams, okay? That is, it's also death. Okay, it's the death before we come back into Aries. It's the end of the zodiac calendar year before you come back into Aries, where you are, starting fresh as a human being and a wanderer moving forward on your life. So North Node is in Pisces. So we're moving North Node. Think of the North Node as like your arrow. Okay, this is where it's pointing humanity to go, and it's about a 1.5-year cycle. So right now it's Leo, which is pointing us, saying, be the star of the show. Okay, you're out front, center stage. The lights are on you, baby, because you've got the information to talk about. You've got the goods to bring to the table that the world needs. All right. So North Node in Pisces is like, we got about dreaming about a new future, okay? Now, the Sun and Mercury at that time were in the sign of Aquarius. The Sun and Mercury right now are in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius, as soon as we think of Aquarius, we think of future, we think of community, all right? These are the two things that just boom, 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 pop out the most as we're talking about bigger picture, bigger than ourselves, our own individual journeys. It's about the journey of all of us together. So, all right, so dreaming, community, future, all right? So this is going on in 1988. We have Neptune. So Neptune is the associated planet of Pisces. So when we associate Neptune, we associate our dreams. So where is Neptune? In 1988, it was in Capricorn. Capricorn is law, government. No, not just law like police officers. We're talking about fundamental laws of physics, okay? You cannot, it doesn't matter how much you try, you can't break certain laws of reality. That's just as simple as how it is. But when we have Neptune in there, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto are outside of the limits of Saturn, okay? So we have Jupiter, we have Mars, we have Mercury, we have Venus, and of course the Earth, our moon, and the sun are all, moon and the sun we consider on the inside of Saturn's scale, okay, in astrology. So when we look at these, we say all of these are within the boundaries and borders of Saturn. Well, Uranus, Neptune, and Pisces, they say we don't care about your third dimension. We're bigger than that. We're grander. We're about ideas. We're about breakthroughs. We're about the dreams, okay? Dreams aren't a physical thing, but they're real, right? Anyway, so Neptune in Capricorn is about dreaming of a new system, okay? So Capricorn is our law, it's our government, it's our system, it's the way that things are structured. So we're dreaming of a new system. The Sun and Mercury, the trading of goods, Sun, Self, in community, futuristic Aquarius, okay? All right, so what else is going on? We have, this is the big one. This is the big thing that happened, and it actually happened in February, not in January of 1988, but it happened in February 13th of 1988, and that is the moon. Well, really, it's Saturn and Uranus conjunction, okay? The moon just happened to be with them as well, at the 29th degree of Sagittarius. Now, if we want to rewind here, the 29th degree of Sagittarius, December 3rd, was where Saturn and Mercury met up right before we had this crazy breakthrough and the Mercury retrograde, okay, and this crazy breakthrough with cryptocurrency.
Absolutely.
At the end of 2017.
It was a big one.
It was a big one. So when we have, any time we have Saturn and Uranus, when we're talking about conjunctions again, we're talking about them being on the same side as the Earth. New moon, Sun conjunct moon, right? Full moon, Sun opposite. So anytime we have a conjunction, it's on the same side as the Earth. So we have Saturn and Uranus, heavy hitters in the sign of Sagittarius, which is the explorer, okay? So we're exploring different ideas of philosophies, religions, different ways of trading goods, explore. I mean, come on. I don't even have to break that down. We get it, all right? So we have all of these, and we also have Mars. Excuse me, Mars was up there too. So we have Mars, we have the moon, we have Saturn and Uranus, all in Sagittarius, exploring, leading the way to exploring to different possibilities, okay? And what are these possibilities that we're seeking? Well, we're seeking a different kind of future. We're seeking a new future that's community-based. Our dreams are of a new kind of government. Okay, these are just associated words that we assign to these planets and to the zodiac. Okay, this is not guesswork, and it's not like magic. This is very just, okay, this is a mug, and it makes this sound when I set it down on wood. Okay, you know, when I set this mug down on glass, obviously it's going to be a different kind of sound, and this is why, you know, we look at astrology as being not just an artistic tool, but is a precise mathematics, okay? We know exactly what is going to be where when we say it is, okay? We know that on the 15th of February this year, there's going to be a solar eclipse that just matched the lunar eclipse that we had on, the 31st, okay? Because it's an opposition. Now, we're not going to be able to see it here in North America like we did last year on August 21st, that great solar eclipse, because it's in a different part of the world. So you're not going to see it unless you're in Antarctica or like Brazil, and unless you're going to be down there, it's a partial eclipse. Nonetheless, it's precise mathematics that are these tools that we can determine exactly where a planet is going to be at a given time. So now, the other aspects that we have here is we have Pluto is in Scorpio. Now, if you've been paying attention with us, Scorpio is sex, money, power, okay? It's also the uncovering of things. It's about transformation of things. So when we have Pluto in its home sign of Scorpio, it's major transformations, okay? And it's forming this sextile with Neptune. A sextile is a 60 degrees. 60 degrees difference, okay, of a 360 degree chart, okay? 60 degree difference, it would be a sextile. So Pluto sextiling Neptune is transforming our dreams to solidifying a new future. So when I look at this image, it's not a lot of guesswork in what came up with this, okay? We knew this was coming. Now let's take a moment and say, well, who runs The Economist? All right, that is what? The Rothschilds and about 5 families.
The big ones that hold all the money, and, well, they're the ones that would rather have the money than make the laws, because if you have the money, they don't really care about the law.
So they're hip. All right, they know what's going on. They're working with somebody. Obviously, there's an astrologer working amongst this group. It is not an uncommon thing to see an astrologer or some kind of person like myself working with large investment banking or even with Hollywood. All right, we see this all the time. Let's take a moment and look at just Jupiter in Scorpio. Jupiter in Scorpio happened in 1994. What happened in 1994? It's also happening in 2018. All right, we're talking about uncovering things, more and more Jupiter, uncovering things, putting, shining the shadows on things that we don't always see. So 1994, we had the death of Tupac and Biggie Smalls, the death of Kurt Cobain. We had O.J. Simpson trial. We had Tanya Harding and what's her name? Got clubbed in the knee. Tanya Harding, I, Tanya, they just made a movie about it. Nancy Kerrigan, thank you.
There we go.
Nailed it. So, okay, so now the last time that happened, we had, last time Jupiter was in Scorpio, was Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix died, okay? The public seems to become obsessed with things that happen in like these celebrity lives. Now, is it really a question that 1994, this Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding deal, and just after Jupiter went into Scorpio,
They making a movie.
they made a movie about
Yeah.
it, and it's huge. Not only that, but we're talking about like being obsessive, okay? Scorpio obsessive, get out. We're talking about being obsessive with like public figures and seeing things, okay, again, just like these. He says, no, OJ had nothing to do with my life, but yet it was on my TV every day in 1994 when I was a kid. So just like what we're seeing today, uncovering hidden truths, okay? Harvey Hans Weinstein, right after Jupiter moved into Scorpio on October 10th, all of this business came out about being swept under the rug for far too long about sexual harassment issues and things like that, okay? So these are patterns that we see constantly within the zodiac that we know when we come back to these things how to expect something similar, okay? So coming full circle in that is, again, just like the Tanya Harding movie that came out this year and it exploded, referred back to something that happened in 1994 when we have the same exact planetary aspects, okay? This is not a fluke, this is not coincidence. It is what it is.
So these oppositions that we're seeing are coming up and just bringing back parts of everything that we've already been through.
Right, absolutely. So, and now when we're looking at this image from January 1988, it's showing us a future of that's coming. And it's also by a magazine, some heavy hitters who can also persuade those things to happen, right? Now, things that are, now let's look at the astrology of where all these planets are today, okay? So we have Mars, back in 1988, at this particular time, was in the sign of Sagittarius. Mars right now is in the sign of Sagittarius, okay? We have Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. So where it was in transformational Scorpio, now it's in law, order, structure, government, okay? So we're transforming law, structure, order, government, okay? And now Saturn is up there with them too. So hopefully you're kind of putting these pieces together with me. It's very obvious to see this is all coming. They knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. As soon as I saw the image, it was obvious, okay? I am not a gambler. I am not a person who has ever been invested in stock market, okay? I am solely invested and solely believe in cryptocurrency because of my awareness of what's happening upstairs. Now let's try to break down this image a little bit more for you. What do we see?
So many different things. I think we should just start with the most obvious piece is the Phoenix standing on all of these burning bills.
Absolutely, not just American money.
It's not just American money. They're from all 4 corners of the earth. And the symbolism of the Phoenix standing on top of the burning bills, turning them into ashes, and then rising up into the actual coin. So the symbol of the transformation between the Phoenix really bouncing off the light of the bills turning into this digital coin. And why do we think that it's an actual digital coin? Well, there's actually a couple things that actually point to that.
Right.
The biggest thing that points out to me is the 1 and the 0. which is binary code. Computers speak in languages of ones and zeros. So all of your wonderful Microsoft Windows and programs and all that really boils down to layers and layers and layers of ones and zeros. It's the core language of computers and also digital money.
Digital money.
Digital money.
Now, what about this little symbol in the zero? Now, of course, we had seen that underneath it says 2018. That's how we're associating with it. And again, this money, Phoenix coming out of the ashes, that is just a simple representation of Pluto in Capricorn. That, to me, it's as simple as that. Now, let's look at this symbol in the middle. Now, what is that called? That is...
It's a couple of different things. It could be a /0. It could be the circumference symbol. And there's several others that really didn't hold any weight when we were going through kind of looking into the symbolism of this piece right here. And the thing that really stuck out to me was the /0 is one of the biggest things that we can see is it's used on checks to actually prevent fraud. So instead of somebody turning a 0 into an actual 8 and increasing the amount of money in the check, they would throw a slash to the 0 to prevent fraud, which is an interesting concept when we talk about the blockchain and having these items that aren't nullable. I'm sorry, that's probably not the right word, but
aren't nullable.
Aren't nullable. Aren't nullable.
It rolls off the tongue with ease.
You can't delete them. Once they're in there, they're in there. The blockchain was created to prevent things like double spending, fraud, etc. It's got this self leveling economy built in for inflation and deflation. And that's what it's really built for. So it's fascinating to me personally to see this /0. Not only that, it's the symbol for, the circumference symbol, which is all encompassing. It goes all the way around the circle, all the way around the globe. Hence the one world
worldwide economy.
So it's really fascinating, all the different pieces that are actually in this picture and in this coin, and I can't wait to see how some of this plays out.
Right, and again, as soon as I had seen the image, I know there's been a lot of buzz about it for a while, so I'm excited to actually talk about this today, and hopefully, for those, believers, there's a lot of truth to this stuff, and it just jumped out as being something so obvious to me. Another thing that I think is very fascinating, going back to that, the symbol of circumference, it's also, when I look at it, it's also, which slightly, depends how you want to relate it, but it's a phase symbol. I work in a lot of music production, and that little symbol appears over a track when you want to reverse the phase of something. So when we talk about reversing the phase of something and what does that exactly do, to think about this, and I like to think about the planets in this way as well, is when, they're all musical instruments, okay? And they're coming in and out of each other's orbit. They're coming in and out of each other, and they create harmonious or disharmonious frequencies, okay? This song that they're singing together. So when something is, so if we're both playing the same song, we're here next to each other, it sounds fine. If I start getting further away, and he starts saying present, because of the distance created between the two instruments, it becomes out of phase or out of sync. So what you can do is you hit that little button, bloop, and it flips the phase or reverses the phase so that way things become harmonious and sync together, all right? Now, I also like to think about that as like when you're in your car and you're driving and let's say you've got the windows down, when you have the back windows down or one of the windows just slightly off and you get that whoop, 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 whoop.
And your head feels like it's gonna explode.
Like, oh my God, Trevor, roll your window up in the back, you're making me sick, bro. Whatever, who's Trevor? But whatever it is, that to me is a perfect example of phasing. It's a perfect example of the relationships of the planets moving in and out of each other. When one of them is in an inharmonious, disharmonious place, that wubba, 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 again, what's obvious, what's not obvious? That's obvious, that affects us. What's not obvious, Pluto in Scorpio or Pluto in, what? We can't see these things with the human eye without tools, okay? More talking about what we see, we don't see. We are limited, okay, in our spectrum of what we can see with our eyes, okay? At the very bottom, we see red. At the very top of our perception, we see purple, okay? Underneath red, infrared, okay? So with certain technologies, we're able to see below what we can see with the naked eye. Just with other technologies, ultraviolet, we're able to see above violet, okay? We're above purple. So with these tools, we're able to see more of reality that we weren't able to see before.
And I really like to look at it in terms of the planets are moving and these things are happening, and it's almost this formless nature that's going on. And we can kind of get the generalities of the situations that are happening. And what's really fascinating is we can take a look at how it's actually forming in the physical reality.
Right.
And being able to keep an eye on looking for those things. It's almost like predicting the unpredictable. But it's not even predicting.
Not
it's
predicting,
just
yeah.
matching up what's going on here and how things are.
We're talking about the oldest science in history. You know, sometimes again the variations might be a little different. If depending on the wood that I set this down on, we're going to get different variations in the tonality. But we still know the sound of wood and this mug being set down on it. We still understand the principles of this. If it were glass, it would be different. If it were rubber or plastic, okay? Now there's tons of different kind of plastics. So there's, again, these variables. But nonetheless, we have a general basic idea of these principles when they come back around, okay? So again, now we're talking Pisces is in Neptune. Dreams for us, dreaming the big picture, forming that 60-degree sextile with Pluto and Saturn, okay? It's like this time it's like saying, yes, I am ready for change. I wasn't before. I'm ready now. And I want change to happen. But we understand, it's like the universe saying, it's like, okay, human, I understand you want to hold on to the reality that you're used to. It's self-preservation. I get you. But relax. It's in my hands now. The universe at large, the grand genie, all right? So relax, human. It's all good. So if this astrology says anything, we talked about it too, that if you've been following along with us, we told you after this full moon, it's going to go down.
That we did.
It went down, guys.
It went down.
I mean, we're looking at, what, 7K for a Bitcoin right now?
We broke just under.
Are you kidding? This is great. And again, we're working on these charts. We're getting things going. If we would have waited to create the show when we had everything in perfect working pecking order, this information wouldn't be getting to you right now, and it'd be too late. So give us a little bit of time. Again, we're going to show you these charts. Once you see these moon cycles and these retrograde cycles, you guys are going to.
There's something to it.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild, and it's the human nature, and the unpredictability is almost kind of visible in a really, really weird way. So we're going to help, kind of hold our hands and walk us through this pattern. We're firm believers in this stuff. It's
absolutely.
So 2018, world currency, okay? It kind of helps break down what that image means. They knew what was going on. We get it. We know what's going on. That's why we're here. We're going to talk to you about this stuff until we're blue in the freaking face because we're so excited. We are not worried about this dip at all, okay? If anything, we are more excited than ever about it.
That's right. We're not exactly sure how it's going to play out, but we don't need to know. We don't know that it could be the Phoenix coin. Yes, that's out there, PXC. It could be the quote-unquote Fed coin that's been talked about for the last year, and who knows, maybe Donald Trump will come out with a new executive order for Trump coin, whatever it might be. We're going to have our eyes out the entire time, waiting and watching for how these things play out.
The Trump coin. So here in Michigan, we have this game called euchre. And Trump, the word Trump is, you play euchre?
Oh, absolutely.
Love euchre. Yeah, it's great game. So Trump is the wild card, all right? I kind of like that. And I don't necessarily, I'm not a huge fan of our commander-in-chief for certain aspects, but he most certainly is a freaking wild card if we have ever had one sitting in that chair.
Yeah.
And who knows where we're going with this. There's so many uncertainties, but there are certain things that you can't stop the inevitable, all right? We are in motion right now. We are looking to the future. We're looking at the community at large. We're not looking at just self anymore, okay? We're looking at the bigger picture of things. We're in the middle of change. It's all going to be good. And we're going to come back to you. We're going to get another episode right back to you tomorrow. Stay tuned. If we don't get these moon charts up now, as a forewarning heads up, there is another eclipse, okay? A solar eclipse happening on the 10th, or the 15th, excuse me. We just said that a moment ago. It is looking from our charts that we've been looking at, the 15th of February and the 17th of March are going to be days that right now, from going the chart to chart that we've seen that we're going to show you very soon, are great days that we kind of anticipate the market going up. How much, that's to be determined, but these days look like they are positive. So we both know that we are going to make moves within this next week here. The first quarter square is coming up on the 7th and 8th, or the third quarter square of the moon is coming up on the 7th and 8th. So looks like we're going to be hit a little bit more going down before we go back up. But
yeah, I'm definitely going to be holding my cards, and I'm waiting for the right time to see this some sort of reversal in terms of this consolidation that we're happening right now.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what the flip of this next moon phase and coming into that new moon is going to look like.
speaking of cards, True Wisdom card of the day.
Let's do it.
What do we got, Aaron? Oh,
Well, you cut it
again. I'm
Let's
cutting
see
fade
here.
here.
Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Francis of Assisi.
I like that. Say that one more time. Start by doing what's necessary.
Then do what's possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible.
I like that. I love reading and knowing about successful people, okay? And I'll say this. This is kind of a fun note to leave this on. Successful people always say when they look at an issue, at a giant obstacle that's in front of them, they remove I from the equation, okay? So instead of saying, how can I get this done? They say, how can this be accomplished, right? So wherever you're at right now, whatever's going on in your life, whatever obstacles are in front of you, instead of saying, how can I do this? And feeling the weight of the world on top of your shoulders, oh, it's just me and I'm this victim, whatever it is. I'm not making fun of you. Take yourself out of the equation. There is no victimization. There's only co-creators in this universe. Once you figure that out, trust me, you're on a much better path, all right? So take yourself out of the equation and say, how can this be accomplished? And then watch the possibilities open up and say, oh my God, I didn't think about it in that perspective before.
I like it. I like it a lot.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Hit that little bell too, so that you know we got a lot of good stuff coming for you, baby.
Right around the corner.
CryptoCosm.